Thank you, Maureen. That was just really nice. And yeah, thank you, everyone. That was really nice. Just wonderful to be with people who feel this way, who feel like we have energy and we're here to be heaven on earth, to shine forth that energy, and especially to appreciate each other, because we certainly help each other. We certainly need each other to help each one of us to be our very best. I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to do with that popcorn, although I have an idea now that I'm thinking about it. We've really had a wonderful month these past several weeks. We've been able to celebrate several things together, several wonderful things. I just want to mention a couple of them and use that as an introduction for our talk today. Some of the wonderful things we've been able to celebrate, I think someone had their journal today, that self-care journal. We have disseminated about 350 of those journals to people, and it was our pleasure to be able to share these. Thanks, Steve. Just a wonderful, wonderful journal, and I hope many of you are using them. In addition, I know that many of you really enjoyed the DeWitt Jones photography that we sent out. It was just wonderful, wonderful photos of by DeWitt Jones, and also his talk at the TED Talk was just wonderful. And then we found out that one of the spouses of our members was a classmate of DeWitt Jones, so that was kind of neat too to see that. Went to Dartmouth, at least that's what I understand. And then I think some of you really enjoyed the after-school suggestions, those questions to ask children when they come home from school. So we've really been doing a lot of these things to try to share all of the things we're learning and trying to be our best. And of course, today we have our spring retreat. We had it in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago, and then this is our spring retreat week, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then next Saturday we'll have it in Indianapolis. But the interesting thing is that it's not so much that we're just doing things, but I believe more than anything else, we are aware. And we are aware that we are aware, as opposed to being unconscious that we are unconscious. It's so much nicer to be aware that we are aware rather than going around unconsciously. And yet again, it's not just being aware that you're aware, but the feeling that is generated by that I think all of us feel stronger. We just have more self-assurance. We just have a little bit more of a bounce in our step. And dare I say, excited. Excited to live each day to bring the joy that is within our hearts into manifestation. It's kind of like the training wheels have been taking off and we're now kind of cycling on our own. Am I speaking loud enough? Yeah, I just want to make sure. It's like those training wheels have been taken off and we're pretty well now cycling on our own, as I would say, conscious co-creators here on the planet. We kind of know what that means, to be a conscious co-creator, to bring heaven to earth here on the planet. So in light of that common experience, this advancement we're having, I have two titles for today's talk. You can take either one. The more sophisticated, analytical, and maybe Vince's title is The Bridge to Self-Realization. Or the more playful, maybe Vince's title is Popcorn. You can use either one of them as the title of today's talk. So let's begin. What I'd like to suggest is that each one of us truly, in a sense, have come a long way on our journey. We have really worked hard to be where we are, and we're very, very happy to be where we are. What I want to suggest is that there are 3 steps that we have undertaken or are undertaking, with a 4th one that is awaiting us. The first step, and see how it applies to you. One of my favorite sayings that I'd like to share with our college student I was teaching was the wonderful saying of knowledge that was given by Alexander Pope in his essay on criticism. Pope wrote, "A little learning or little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring." A little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Drink deep or taste not the Pierian spring. Then I would write on the board after I put that up, some students do not drink at the fountain of knowledge, they just gargle. In the same way, when it comes to spirituality, many people just gargle. They do not drink deeply. For many of us, I think, we've kind of made that change. There are still many for whom spirituality is more of a hobby. It's kind of something you do in your free time. It's nice. Or for many people, it's something that they're always going to get to. I'm going to get to that eventually. But they just never seem to get to it. For us, I think the first step for us has been a clear choice. We have made a decision to drink deeply at the spring of knowing who we are and to live accordingly. While we appreciate the many things and the many other people that others have done for us, the most important thing is that each one of us has made an individual decision of going forth. Not just sipping, not just gargling, but drinking deeply at the spring of self-realization. And I want to compliment all of you and compliment all of the people with whom we associate in Now Creations and with the millions of people in the world that are doing this very same thing, drinking deeply at the spring of self-realization. The second step. Once we have made that decision to cross the bridge to self-realization, we've had to make many changes in our life. It was as if once we made the decision, then the challenges seem to pop up again and again and again and again. What I would like to suggest to you is that the following are some of the loose boards that were on the wooden bridge to self-realization that we either have crossed or are crossing. The first one was the sheer hesitation of going forward. And that hesitation probably has come from many, many, many factors. I'm going to suggest 3 of them. The first of the hesitations was the distractions of the world. There's just so much going on. There are relationships, there are responsibilities, there are pleasures, there's this, there's that. There's just so much going on that just takes up so much of your time. It's not that we don't want to grow spiritually, there's just so much that's going on. It's a noisy place out there. It's noisy, and it's so easy to become distracted by the noise that keeps on going on. And the more you wait for it to quiet, it seems like the more noise you seem to hear. The second hesitation I would suggest to you is that many of us have had to face some unresolved aspects of our own maturity. Questions like, am I ready to really grow spiritually? Do I really want to do it? Do I really want to get my old stuff resolved? Do I really want to step forward and not fight with myself anymore about my body, about my past, about my habits, about not being good enough? Do I have the discipline to persevere and maybe to do that daily practice each day to come forward? Well, maybe I'm good enough. At least I'm better than a lot of other people, so why do I have to improve? Especially when it seems like there are many other people who don't seem to care about improving. And then, of course, there is that dreaded statement. After all, I'm only human. Please get rid of that. Please get rid of that. And then there's that third hesitation. Maybe it's the biggest one. I don't know. But it repeatedly challenges us. What if all of this isn't true? What if there isn't a better way? What if there isn't heaven on earth? What if we are not the evolution of our species? Maybe it just seems like, maybe it's not true. Why should I? After all, the majority of people don't seem to be interested in a lot of these things. Why me? Why now? Why not just wait and see for the umpteenth million time? Despite these very real hesitations, there there have been a part of us, on the other hand, that seems to have wanted to move forward. Perhaps you, like me, felt that, well, there was something missing in your life. It was going pretty well, but I wasn't quite whole. Or there was something going on inside of me that kind of drove me forward, that I just really wanted to move ahead with, something that was not being satisfied by anything else. And then there were those three simple but very powerful things. This message of self-realization rings true to me. Darn it, it feels so good. Just feels so good. Or the second thing is, well, if the truth be told, I'm a lot happier when I live this way. I'm happier living this way than the way I used to live. Not that it was bad, this is just better. And lastly, there really does seem to be a few more people doing this. In fact, a lot more people. And I spend time with them, and I like them. I like these people. I like the way they live. I like the way we live. And yet it really all boils down to one particular point. You and I have made a decision to move forward. To move forward. Many others are waiting for other people to make the choice. Many others are waiting for other people to do the work. We are not of that ilk. We have made that decision to come forward and to truly understand that we are now moving as a group. We can say, as the Hopi Indians said at the end of their poem, we are the ones we've been waiting for. But more than that, I believe that each one of us can look in the mirror and say, I'm the one I've been waiting for. I think we're at that stage where we can look in the mirror. I've been waiting for myself. And not only do you know who you are, but you also know what you're waiting for. And that is that you have waited to become a conscious co-creator here in the universe. That you have become this presence of the God Spirit bringing heaven to earth. And it has been worth waiting for. We are moving to this self-realization. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. I might want to suggest that, oh yes, now I know what that popcorn is for. It's not just that we have decided to move towards self-realization, but we're kind of like a kernel of corn that has popped. And once it pops, it's not going to go back being a kernel. It's just going to become a lovely treat to the world. I'm going to share a fourth point with you. And I thought about doing this, and I didn't know if I wanted to do it or not. There are many communion services for many, many different ways. And I would not like people to say, well, you know, at that Now Creation service, they have popcorn for communion. I would not like anyone to say that. But I have an idea that if you took some of this popcorn and realized that you're the kernel that has popped and you're a treat to the world, I think that'd be okay. So, just take some and pass it around and just see what it's like while I continue on. The fourth step that I would want to accept is the fact that this clear realization, this clear acceptance in a sense of who we are, has brought us then to the notion that I think each one of us are beginning to understand that not only individually, but collectively, we are creating our futures by the choices we make. This is a very, very important notion. What we have come to understand is that accepting yourself as a conscious co-creator, just accepting yourself as a conscious co-creator is not the destination point. But accepting yourself as a conscious co-creator is the way of going forward. This is a very beautiful thing. We understand how to go forward in the world. We're not confused, we're not uncertain. That our destiny is to bring forth the good, the beautiful, and the holy, just as we were brought forth as the good, the beautiful, and holy, the offspring of the divine energy, and we feel ourselves to be extensions of that energy. I believe more than anything else, we have a vision of who we are and how we're going to go forward. But let me be more practical. I think, see if this is not true, that on a daily basis, you are deciding the kind of world you want to live in. And you are living that way. You're deciding the kind of world you want. And you're living that way. It's not up to someone else, but you're deciding, this is the way, this is the world I want, and I will live this way. We do not have worries about the future as to the way it's going to be, but quite frankly, we're confident that the right things will work out, not so much worried about the details, but we're very conscious about the guide that is moving us along the way. We're in touch with this energy, and this energy gives us direction and empowerment to achieve. It's just a wonderful and very beautiful thing to know that we have a pathway forward. And might I suggest not only a pathway for ourselves, but I believe we're also presenting a pathway for those that are unsure, people that are floundering. And I believe that we have a very beautiful gift to offer the world. Not that they're not going to make it on their own, and none of us are responsible for anyone else because they all have the same guidance as we do. But we're happy to show up and to be way showers for others. We're not out there preaching, but I do think we show a way. We show a way of being in the world that is very beautiful, and it is really the movement in which all of us are engaged. Well, in conclusion, what I would just want to suggest is that there are some people that are still, in a sense, very worried about their futures, exactly what's going to happen and so on. But I think for many of us now, we have crossed the bridge to self-realization. It's a wonderful, wonderful notion. We have made the decision to go forward, and we know other people with whom we're doing it. Our lives are better, they're happier, they're nicer. We feel like we know what we're doing, and we're happy to do it, creating a world that feels comfortable within ourselves. I would suggest to you the bridge to self-realization is no longer there for us. Much like when you pop a kernel, you can't go back to the kernel. We have crossed to self-realization. We are popped corn. That's about as corny as it gets, I know, but there's just a truth to that. So let's kind of keep that in mind, and let's prepare ourselves for our meditation by just singing that lovely song, Let Go of the Shore.
Let go of the
Shore.
and let the water carry you. Let go
Of the shore,
float
into
into
the
the
mystery.
You have all you need. It's all inside of you. Just close your eyes
and see
and know that you are safe. Let go
of the shore,
and let
the water carry you.
Let go
of the shore,
float
into
into
the mystery. fully your compass.
Just lift your sails in faith and trust that you will arrive. Let go
of the shore
and let the water carry you. Let go
of the shore
float
into the mystery. It's a joy for us to go into the mystery, our own. For our own journey is not quite as mysterious as it once was. We seem to have a place that has answers within us when we take the time to go in and to see, to ask, to receive. Fully now dedicate yourself to this meditation. Let's begin the meditation as we are wont to do by just taking a few moments to center ourselves, focusing on our natural breathing rhythm or any other technique we might use, allowing the body to relax, your mind to settle, and to bring your soul to the fore. Please do that now. Our meditation will be very joyful today. Let's begin by simply asking you to place yourself in front of a mirror, maybe your bathroom mirror at home, and just look into the mirror, addressing your reflection, and just saying, just honestly, you're the one I've been waiting for. Doesn't matter how long you've been waiting. Doesn't matter about what you've been waiting. It's rather that you're here. You're here. And would you be happy that you've shown up for yourself? You know who you are. And you're so happy to be yourself. Yourself. And as you're looking at your image in the mirror and speaking to it, would you be willing to say that you're not my part-time self, you're now my full-time self. You're there with me to certainly meet my challenges, but more than that, you're there as my joyful presence in life. Yes, indeed. Pretty neat. You're there as my happiness, my contentment, and certainly my strength, my power when I need it. You are becoming my all the time, eyes open, walking around the world sense of self. There's no difference between who I see in the mirror, the eye that is talking, to whom it seems in the mirror, and the eye that walks around in the world that is its true self. I've become whole. And would you be able to say again to that image in the mirror, we know the world we want to live in. We know the way that we'd like to be, and we are living that way. Not waiting for anyone else to come around, but we know the world the way that we'd like to have it, and we are going to live that way. First class citizens of the planet. Yes, indeed. And just when you're in this place, this state, just ask you to join with Maureen in our 2 meditation songs, the Prayer of St. Francis on page 19, and then Blessing to the World on page 16. But would you please see yourself in the music?
Make
Me a channel of your peace.
Where
There is hatred, let me bring your love. Where there is injury, your healing power. And where there is doubt, true faith in you. Make me a channel of your peace. Where there is despair in life, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, only light. And where there's sadness, ever joy. O Master, grant that I may never see so much to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love with all my soul. Make me a channel of your peace. It is in pardoning that we are pardoned, in giving of ourselves that we receive, and dying that we're born to eternal life.
You are the heart.
You are the hands, you are the price of spirit on earth, and all you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. You are the heart, you are the hands, you are the voice of spirit on earth, and all you are, and all you do is a blessing to the world. We are the heart, we are the hands, we are the voice of spirit on earth, and who we are, and all we do is a blessing to the world. Blessing to the world. And just when you're ready now, just bring your attention back into the room and into your body, just opening up your eyes and just allowing the beauty of yourself to shine through.